Well, the cool part is we just begin at the beginning. And the place that I really like getting started is the spot. And again, I always present it as it's like this one spot. And there's definitely people that have had like one incident in their life where this was like the first time that I woke up. This was like a near-death experience. This was some big spiritual awakening moment. But I think for the majority of us, it's a series of events over the course of our entire life that eventually starts to peel back the layers. And really what I'm looking for is, when did you start to question reality in a sense? When did you start to recognize or realize or connect into and feel like there was more than just regular old physical reality, kind of the stuff that they've been selling us our whole life?
Well, I've never, I always questioned the Bible because my brother was born again Christian, my mother, and my father was raised Catholic. Well, so I had that all doing, and I questioned it because there's so many different versions of it. How do you know which one's true?
Yeah.
And that's where it started in regards to me, of not knowing the truth of it all.
Was childhood really religious in a sense? Like, was that a big part of your family growing up and things like that, or not really?
When I was little, we went to church and stuff like that, but I think I stopped going to church when I was maybe 5th grade.
Okay.
Something like that. And I just went with my friends when they went to church, but never was forced to. There was an incident that when we moved here to Tennessee, we were invited to a coworker of my husband's church. And I didn't want to stay because what they had in their pew pamphlets in regards to unwanted children procedures. And I'm against that. It's like, you can't tell me what is right and what's wrong for my body.
Yeah.
And my husband said, we're not here for that. We're here for support. And it's like, true. So, but yeah, I almost didn't stay because my values are completely different in regards to that aspect.
I can't blame you. When did you all move to Tennessee?
After the Northridge earthquake in California in 94.
Oh,
that
wow.
happened in February, and we moved here Memorial Weekend, the Friday of Memorial Weekend of 94.
And you've been here ever since?
Been here ever since.
That's awesome. You're the first person we've had a handful. This is episode 10 of the podcast, and you're the first person that we could have actually done this in person because you're just up.
Right?
Right? It's so freaking cool. It's so fun. So talk to me about some of those early childhood things, not just the questioning of like whether or not, religion is true or all the different things that people talk about, but what were some of the experiences that you were having that also contributed to that thought process?
Well, I had a sleepover with my best friend, still to this day, and another friend of ours. And we did a thing in the bathroom with the mirror,
Yeah, what is that called again? Dang it, I can't remember that. It's like
Bloody Mary.
Okay, that's right.
And I saw something, and I didn't remember that until I started coming into my gifts. It's like it was a memory, but it's like, no, that didn't happen. But once I started coming into my gifts, and reality it's like I did see something, and I just blocked it out. But yeah, looking back.
Do you remember what you saw? Like, do you remember what it was? Do you remember kind of the experience?
I saw a face.
Okay.
That's all I saw. That's all I can recall is a face, but I was 9 or 10 years old. So, that was a mighty long time ago. But, looking back on it, that was my, I guess, initial christening to what I now do.
Yeah.
It's just looking back on it. Started in high school that I just knew things. People would ask me questions and I give them an answer and say, how did you know that? I don't know. I have a story to tell you about my new daughter-in-law with that story.
Let's hear it.
Well, when my son first started dating her, she asked some questions in regards to medical.
Uh-huh.
And I gave her the answer, what to do, whatever. And I always used to blame the knowledge of medical on my mom because she worked as a nurse when I was little. And I figured I learned that from her. Well, I didn't. I just have the know. But anyway, she had asked me a question in regards to medical, and she had done it a couple times about something else. And she goes, "How do you know all that?" I said, "Because I'm a nurse." And I was just playing around. So one day she had a serious question. She asked my son, "Would your mom know about this? She's a nurse." He goes, "No, she's not." So that's a standing joke now that I'm a nurse. But it was funny. It's like, I can't believe you believe that. It's like, well, I didn't know any different because I didn't know you very well. I said, well, I appreciate that, but I'm not a nurse, never have been, never will claim to be.
I want to go back to the mirror thing because I forgot about that game. And I remember playing similar, like that game specifically, but also just like a lot of times, like just playing with scary stuff when I was a kid, right? Always like at sleepovers and things like that, constantly like playing around with whatever those kind of spooky things were that were in the space. And now I see specifically like the mirror thing. Do you ever do mirror work, or have you ever done any mirror work before where
No.
you do like gazing not only into the mirror, but like into like you face gaze yourself and stare at yourself in a mirror, and then slowly all the different things that kind of starts to happen. Have you ever done that before?
No.
It's really, really cool. It's when I say it's something, I think the reason it's scary is because what happens is, at least from my experience, and I'm not saying that it's scary, I'm always very conscious of like wanting to make sure I'm not implanting, this is a scary thing, because it's not scary for some people, right? It's not scary for me anymore, but it used to be. And what happens is when you stare at your eyes and you sit there and just focus and relax, and then you allow, it's the same thing that like happens when you're reading for people and doing stuff, you drop into that other place. And the next thing you know, like your face can start to shape and change, and you'll start to see different things, and your eyes will change. And I mean, it can get really, really deep, and you can start to see other things around you and everything like that. So it's just another method. It's the same thing like if you were going to use like a candle or something. It's just a type of meditation where you're focusing on one thing, and you can do that just by focusing on your eyes in the mirror, and then all sorts of crazy, amazing, beautiful things can happen. And sometimes people get freaked out because it's kind of scary when you see your face start to shape and change. And
it feels like it would be like looking into your soul.
Kind of, for sure.
Yeah.
So
No,
what were some of the...
I even remember when you brought that up, it's like I got to thinking of other things we did. I don't know if you ever did the 2 fingers, lifting people. We did that. We did that a lot.
Right.
And my mother had a Ouija board.
Nice.
So I messed with that.
Any cool experiences with that?
Like I said, this is a long time ago, so right. I don't recall.
Well, if your mom had a Ouija board, was she into stuff as well?
Not necessarily. I don't think so. She just, I don't know. She's out in the field.
Where do you feel like you got all this stuff from? Where do you feel like you were drawn to it and attracted to it?
Well, before I came into my gifts, we moved into this house, and this house was built by my neighbor and his dad in 1960.
Okay.
And so he still lives there. He still lives next door, but he's in his 80s. But there used to be a garage that burnt down, and his brother used to do work on the cars in the garage and stuff like that. Well, one day we're cleaning out this area because when it burnt down, there's glass in the driveway, there's screws in the driveway, and I didn't want those in my tires. So my husband found a wedding band. And it's like, okay. So, it's in the house, and didn't think nothing of it. And my house is 800 square feet. So my living room, to have a sectional in, you couldn't get anywhere around. But that's what we had at the beginning. And I would sit on the couch, and you look through the kitchen, and there's a back door. Well, when they built this house, it had no bathrooms. It was an outhouse. But when they got ready to add on to a bathroom, they closed in that back porch, and it's up above ground level. They closed it in and made a bathroom off the porch. So I'm sitting on the couch, and I would see someone walk by the back door. Like I said, there's no way to get to it because you lock the door downstairs from the inside. Mm-hmm. So I would see spirit. My husband thinks I'm crazy. My son thinks I'm crazy. It's like, no, seriously, there is someone in the house. So I went to the neighbor and asked him, if anyone passed away in the house. And he said, well, there was somebody, I think it was a sister. But I said, we found a wedding band. And ever since we found that wedding band, we've had a spirit in the house. And he said, well, that was my brother's. He lost it. So I went home, got it, and brought it to him. Spirit left. And it was like, everyone thought I was crazy. Now, this was before my awakening and everything. It's like, okay. So I've never had a problem with it. But then I was talking to my aunt, because my father's already passed away, and she told me a story, because she's like 12 years older than my dad. And when she was a teenager, my dad wasn't even born yet. His older brother was very ill. And both my grandmother and my great-grandmother were at his crib side. And they're praying over his body and everything. And like I said, my aunt was in there in the room when this happened. The body of her brother levitated up and then came down, and he had passed.
Wow.
And that's the only thing I know in regards to anything like that with the family. Since my aunt has gone, that was out before my awakening also, I have no one to know.
Yeah.
So it's like, what do I do? So I sought out, before I came into my gifts, I was on TikTok. I was trying to get my real estate license. And I was going and saying, am I going to pass the test? Am I going to pass the test? And I went to many. Yes, you're going to pass. Well, I failed it 3 times. But I use practicality with these questions, and they're not meant to have practicality. It's like, I'm sorry, but, I use common sense when it comes to stuff. I don't go book-wise. But I rewrote that whole book because I'm a hands-on learner. I can't read to comprehend, so I had to write it to read it and comprehend it. So rewriting the books, that was not fun.
So was that originally you said you were on TikTok getting different readings and stuff like that. What was the big shift for you that brought you onto this platform in order to do readings and to do stuff?
Well, I was a follower of Psychic Jen, and she goes by Psychic Medium Jen now, and she's been my mentor several different times. But I started her intuition class, and in her intuition class, I started working on my intuition. Okay. And she would have me tap in, and I would tap in and literally read her, but yet use my intuition. All I can do is explain it to it that I was doing mediumship and didn't realize that I was doing it. I thought I was just doing, the other, and it's like, so after that, we started past life readings, or teaching me about past lives. And this was 3 years ago, this past summer. And it's like, okay, got it. And then I couldn't do, I don't know, it just wasn't right. It wasn't the right time. So I kind of just, little by little.
Did you have a spark, April? What was the thing that was because I think about you know, it's one thing to like feel drawn to this stuff and get readings and we'll go to festivals and come on TikTok and stuff like that. It's a whole other thing to like step into the space. Did you feel like there was something pulling you or pushing you, or did you have a little something in there that was like, this is the direction that you got to go in?
I was fascinated. I've always been fascinated. I mean, I used to watch Ghost Adventures 24/7. But I've always been fascinated with spirit I've never been afraid of it, if that makes sense. I mean, having this ghost in my house and it didn't freak me out. My son didn't like to come into my house because of it. But it was something of the unknown that I wanted to learn. And I tried tarot. I can't do tarot.
Yeah.
I tried several different times to learn tarot, and it's like, I was told by spirit that I'm not to learn that yet. I still refuse to learn it. But I'm going to the next phase with open ears, open eyes, open heart I don't seem to get enough.
Yeah.
I just want more and more and more. And I'll do, spirits kick my butt backwards several times because it's like I'm trying to rush things. And that's me. I'm a rusher. I don't like waiting around till things come to me. I have to go get it.
In the same way, I'm very impatient.
God, the impatient is not the word I would use. But I do procrastinate. So, it's kind of weird, but yeah, I procrastinate a lot on a lot of things, but then, right now I'm supposed to be studying my, getting to know my spirits better, my spirit guides better. I haven't been doing very well on that.
One of the things that I've experienced in my life is a lot of trauma. And especially in childhood and even upwards, throughout my whole entire life in varying degrees and ways and things like that. And I think it's directly connected. I mean, not directly meaning like one thing leads to another, but I very much think that played a massive role in my ability to connect today, simply because I look at it kind of like a muscle that we're constantly working. And because childhood had so much dissociation and so much stuff that I had to survive and go through, I was very much in my imagination and in that space on a regular basis because I was dissociating and trying to survive. And then I can see those connections today. And we've talked to a lot of people on the podcast already, and they have very similar experiences where they had a lot of trauma in childhood, a lot of stuff that they had to get through, sometimes like really, really difficult things that were really challenging and really hard. And then later on in life, these gifts, these things start to wake up and come online, and it feels like they're connected almost. At least that's the way that I'm seeing it. So I'm curious if you can relate to that at all.
Yeah, I figured you'd go there.
We got to talk about shadow, April. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, I know. Shadow work.
Right.
I originally moved to California when I was 8.
Okay. Where
from
were you before that? Massachusetts.
And making me go somewhere. A guy my mother was dating had molested me.
Okay.
At 7. I never said anything to my mother until I was 16.
Mm.
And because he threatened to follow us and kill me and my whole family. So, that was over my head for a long time. What was it? 2.5 years later, when I'm in California, a friend of mine that lived upstairs from us and I we're walking to the liquor store, which was a block away, and getting stuff for parents or something, when it was legal for kids to buy stuff for the parents. And anyways, we were, I don't know I can't remember if we were on our way to it or back from it, but there was somebody that was hiding in the bushes without any clothes on and tried to abduct her and I got loose. He grabbed a hold of her. I kind of got in the way, and we both got free. They caught him. We had to go to court, all that kind of stuff. Now, a 10-year-old going to court and mentioning stuff like that is
terrible.
very traumatizing. And I had to say the words.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, how uncomfortable was that? So even at that time, I never said anything to my mom about what happened. But when I was 16, she wanted a roommate in the house that we were living in. And she goes, is that okay? I said, no, it's not. She goes, why? So I told her what happened.
Mm.
She goes, it'll be okay. She still let this man that she didn't even know rent the room. And I guess from that aspect, in that time frame, I've not had any respect for her because of that.
Yeah, that's a big wound right there, April. That sucks.
Yeah. And, we got along for the longest time, on and off kind of thing. But just 2 years before my gifts came in, she was living with me. She had to leave California. She couldn't afford to live. So she was supposed to live 6 months with me and 6 months with my brother. Well, my brother decided he wanted to be a long-haul trucker. So there's my mother for 4 years, 24/7 in my basement, which where I am right now, which used to be her room. And my brother called services on me for elder abuse. I said, excuse me, elder abuse? I said, you want to talk about child abuse? She's still doing that on me. I said, so it's turnabout's fair play. So I asked her to leave. Well, no, I didn't ask her. I told her she had to leave. And I've not spoke to her since. I tried to, when her brother passed away, to let her know. My brother wouldn't even give her the phone.
Wow.
They didn't want to talk. It's like, okay, I'm done with you both. I'm done. I tried. But
do you feel like, because it sounds like you keep talking about like when your gifts and the awakening and everything like that, do you feel like the boundary that you set with your mom, the way that you created, because I look at things through like all of these different lenses, and I think a big part of what not just healing involves, but like when you really are able to step into the space of not just these gifts and this connection, but like truthfully just like healing and moving forward in life, you have to have a boundary in order to do that. And you have to have a safe place to do that. And so do you feel like doing that and setting that boundary with your mom, do you feel like that was a catalyst moment for you that opened up this platform or opened up this space for you?
Yeah, because it was right around the same time where, I'm coming, it's just, things are just coming to me, and it's like, I didn't know what to do. And the whole situation with her, it's like, it was the pivotal point.
Yeah.
Because also at that time I was contemplating, in which I hadn't had it done yet, gastric sleeve, because I weighed 260 pounds and I wanted to lose weight for my grandkids too. I wanted to be around. And she goes, you don't need that. I wanted to be healthy.
Yeah.
And she didn't think I needed to. And it's like, well, it's not up to you. She still wanted to control me. And it does coincide right at the same time when I didn't finally let her go from my life till about 3 years ago. And I was done because it hurt.
Yeah.
And it still kind of hurts because I know she's not well. She's 83. And it's just, I check the obituaries on a regular basis because I know my brother won't call me.
Yeah. That's hard, April. I had to do the same thing when we moved out to Tennessee here, which was just about 3 years ago. It'll be 3 years in December. And it's very much, it's not very much the same reason based off of your story, but it was very much because of the relationship with my mom. And I had to cut off all connection with her. And we lived in the same town. It was the same small town that I grew up in. And so it was really, really challenging because it wasn't just like the off chance that I would run into her down at the grocery store or something like that. But everything in town, because it's the same town that I grew up in, it was also the same town that she grew up in, everybody knows everybody. So it wasn't, I couldn't go to the grocery store and not have somebody talk to me about my mom or say hello to me or, it was just too much shit. So we had to sell the house and get the hell out of there.
Yeah.
And in some ways, I definitely, I can see the correlation and connection with how that happened. And then here I am, 3 years later, and all of this has happened. And I do very much think it is about creating safety for yourself in whatever way you possibly can, because otherwise, I mean, we talk about it all the time in here because of like one of the suits, I can't find it now, but it's the club. It's all about survival. Like if you're in survival, you're not in, there you go. You're not in a space of healing, right? You're in a space of survival. And I think it's really, really challenging to tune into your intuition, to connect to source, to do all the different things that you need to do, not just to like read for people and work with people. But for me, it was more about my own path and my own spiritual journey. What are some of the things that you've experienced since this with your mom that has, helped you and impacted you on like emotional growth and spiritual growth and things like that?
My hardest thing is, I do everything out of my heart. My heart runs my life, and I wear it on my sleeves a lot. I've had to change that up quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I don't like it when I have to do that, because it ends up hurting me if I have to close off my heart. But it is hard. I kind of wish my father was still alive, because he was my backbone. I get a lot of things from him. The funniness, the heart on the sleeve, because my father was the kindest man. Even though I didn't spend most of my life with him, as my adult years we did, and we just, I don't know, we just clicked. When he passed, a large part of me died. Yeah. And it still hurts, and he's been gone since 2008.
Yeah.
But I know when I first was coming into this, I always felt his presence. And he was always backing me and cheering me on. He used to be on this side of me, which is really strange because I have a tattoo of his face on my back.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
But since I've grown and I don't need him, he's on this side of me. But he was always there spiritually to help me through this journey. And he's given me a few kicks in the ass. Not when I say spirit kicks me in the ass, it's him too. But we all have to take loss, and that's another reason I do what I do, because when I've had someone connect to my dad for readings, and I know it's him, because there's a couple of things that's specific that I always ask him to talk about. And I forgot where I was going.
It's big emotion, right?
Yeah. He's just his big influence. And when I put two and two together with my aunt and stuff, I figured my grandmother and great grandmother were probably kitchen witches.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can think of why they would experience what they did with their child and grandchild.
Yeah.
So, but no way of knowing. I just do what I do what I do, because the connection of loss for me, I want everyone else to be able to have a connection with someone that they've lost. Because every little bit of confirmation brings the spirits up. And if they're feeling down and depressed or whatever and that's what I'm for, to be able to help lift their spirits. And
so take us to the spot. You said that this kind of started for you when you started What was the name of the medium? The Psychic Jen? Is that what you?
Psychic Jen, yeah, my mentor.
And so take us down that path. When you start learning things, you recognize, wait a minute, I'm doing mediumship, even though I don't know that I'm doing it. Like, how did it all start to unfold for you? And what's your experience of it like? That's what I'm always really curious about too.
It's different for me from most, probably because it's like all of a sudden, or it's like, what the hell? What am I doing? I had no idea on how to meditate. I still don't meditate. But it's like, the way I explain it, all my gifts came to me as a gift. And all of a sudden things. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, I can start doing this. Well, it's like recently when I've done mediumship readings, past life information started coming in. So it's like, okay. But I just do it. I don't even know why yes, I've had training, and God, Jen has been on my butt and helped me and reinforced my negativity towards myself, that it's gone. Well, it still shows its face every once in a while. But to be proud of what I do and know my worth.
Yeah.
And that's, yeah.
Do you have a practice that you do when you come to the space, when you start to work, when you dive in? What does that look like?
I just open up.
Yeah.
I don't, I was working the flea market down here for 2 months on weekends, and I just had to sign up there for a free oracle, whatever. And I would ask them if they wanted a card or if they have a question. I just would pull my universe card and see what the universe has for you. And then it would turn into psychism. I just pull a card and it's like, do you mind if I tap into your energy because I'm getting this? It just happens. I do have control, but I don't, because I don't control it.
Yeah.
I just let it happen. Just let it flow. So people will ask me a question and it's like, I give them an answer. Well, how'd you come up with that? I just know the answer.
So do you feel like it just, because for me, what a lot of my stuff is all visual stuff. I feel like I'm getting this like blip of information that's like this snapshot, and then it just slowly like opens up. And it's very much like a movie for me, because I watched a lot of movies growing up. I'm very visual. I'm passionate about film and TV and stuff. So it would make sense to me that that's the way that my imagination thinks as well. I can create all sorts of incredible things inside of my mind. So when I get this flash of information, I'll see something and I'm like, that's weird. And then if I just like sit there and hold it for a minute, it's like, do you remember back in the day when we had to like turn the TV and focus it and adjust the TV so
Rabbit
that you
ears.
could see? Yeah, right. That's totally what it feels like, where suddenly it starts to take shape, and then I'll move into it and I'll receive a bunch more information about it. But it's very visual for me. Do you feel like you're getting visuals, or is it just a knowingness that comes?
The knowingness, but also when my third eye opens, I literally feel like it is a black hole that's just opening up. Every time someone has I just feel the energy, and it's like, all right, my third eye just starts opens up, and I just go with it. It's like, okay, there's a message that needs to be said here. And the seeing part, I can be able, this past year is when I've been able to see. And I can do a reading and literally see the garage. If I'm being told, he's working on the car, and I can start describing the garage or in the kitchen. I gave information to 2 people in regards to missing persons.
Nice.
This year. And it's like, the one, they found her. The other one, she hadn't talked with her cousins yet with the information that I gave her. But I gave explicit where this person's at, the southeast side of the hillside. Next, explicit details of where that person is.
Wow.
And I just started being able to see, and if I focus in, I can do it. But this year was the first time I've been able to connect to my family.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What's that been like for you?
Well, it happened on my son's, just after my son got married.
Yeah, that was this past summer, right? I remember you talking about it.
Yep. He got married August 2nd. And the place he stayed at, we had a cookout afterwards. And he was telling me that he had some strange things happen the last night that they were there. Doorbell was ringing, got to the door, there's no one there. This is out in the Tules, so there's really nothing around. And then as he's telling me this, my nephew steps forward. And I said to him, it was Shane that was there. He said, nuh-uh. I said, yeah. I said, he left you a message in your truck. I didn't see a message. I said, well, he left you a message. And I said, well, let me go look in your truck. And I get ready to go to look in his truck. I said, never mind, I know what you're talking about. I said, what do you mean? I got into my truck this morning, and no one has been around, and I drove it the day before, so I know no one's been around. The seat was moved all the way back.
Wow.
And my nephew was taller than my son. And then my nephew told me that not only was he at the wedding, but so was my dad, my mother-in-law, and my stepmom. And the front row where I sat, because my husband was the best man, there was 4 empty seats. But he told me my dad even showed up at my son's. He said that he had made himself a cup of tea. So I asked my daughter-in-law, I said, was there a spoon and cup in the sink this morning? She goes, yeah, why? I said, because your father-in-law or your grandfather-in-law, grandfather-in-law said he came and had some tea. I said, he sat there, and Shane showed me exactly how they walked in and out. Yeah. And it's like, so that was the first and only time I've connected with my family.
That's amazing.
I was amazed. I know they wanted to step forward at the wedding, but that would have knocked me right out. I would have been no good at that wedding. As it was, mother and son dance was, all I did was cry and not let go.
Right.
Oh.
So do you get any of the other, like, are you hearing things at times? Are you experiencing things in your physical body? Like sometimes I'll get all the sensations in my body of like speaking to where things are, or do you know what I mean? Like I'll feel stuff in my actual physical body. Are there other things? Because it feels like a big chunk of yours, April, is just that clear knowing, just that knowing of information that comes to you.
Things have been happening to me more recently. Okay. It's like synchronicities. I've never paid attention. I've never paid attention to all of this stuff that's going on. For one, I've always been too busy and not paying attention, but I've been seeing a lot of synchronicities, a lot more things I'm being shown now. It's like I'm being taught ass backwards. And it's like, okay, so I'm experiencing that. I am experiencing I do get the goosebumps when things come up, and I do get messages that said, or see something that have to tell whoever it is. And it's like I see it, and it's like, oh, I've got to tell so and so about this because it was a message for them. So, more things are happening now because I've surrendered to everything. Yeah. I listen to guided meditations every single night when I go to sleep. So you are meditating. Good job. Yeah, that way. I do it while I'm sleeping because I don't take the time to do it during the day. Yeah. So I do it when I go to sleep, and it's helped. That's one thing I tell everybody, is if you can't do it during the day, do the guided meditations when you go to sleep. I have headphones that I wear. This also blocks out my husband snoring.
I was talking about just this the other day with that time period when we're asleep. Our brain drops into those lower wavelengths, and that's when we're able to reprogram like our subconscious and program things in there. Mm-hmm. And it's such an important thing to make note of, because especially if you're trying to shift and change your past and get out of these habits and behaviors and all the shadow and all that kind of stuff, you have to eventually not just recognize the program that you're operating off of, but you have to replace it with something new. And that's a perfect opportunity. And so for a long time, my wife and I used to go to bed and we would listen to these like 8-hour, 9-hour long chakra meditations that were for the root, that were for all the different chakra systems. And I totally feel like it was not just like reprogramming, but it changes not just like the outlook of life and how you see things, but it like really, like, it's not just like stuff that we're listening to when we're going to sleep. That time period, I think, is really, really crucial and important. And so I think it's awesome that you're doing it.
Yeah, it kind of like, it's subliminal messages, you know, you hear it and you start not realizing that you're incorporating things in your life because you are listening to the right things to help you change to what you need to do.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's very beneficial. Most of mine are 3 hours long. Some of them are longer. If I can stay asleep for more than, 4 hours, then I'll listen to more. But I sleep with a sleep app that I keep track of sleep apnea because I used to have it when I was overweight. So since I've had that, I keep it all the time and just pay attention. But also it registers me when things are rough when I'm sleeping.
Yeah.
So and another thing that's just happened, which I have never do, very, very rarely, is dream. And I had a hell of a dream this week. It literally woke my ass up because it scared me, because I was like, what the hey? But then also something happened that day, the following day, that made that dream come to reality. In other words, it was a deja vu that actually I remember it happening in the dream.
Do you want to share?
That makes sense. I don't remember it now.
Don't you love that? I love that.
I just remember it's like something was scaring me, and I don't know exactly what it was, but I do remember it's what woke me up is I made myself wake up because it was chasing me and I was running and I was crying. And it's like, so but yet I knew I was sleeping.
Yeah.
So I woke myself up to get out of that. And so I asked my husband, I said, did you hear me? Was I talking in my sleep doing it? He said, yeah, you were doing something. I just rolled over. I said, gee, thanks. But knowing that I'm dreaming is nice because all I usually get is deja vus. Which is okay because those are dreams that happen, they come to happen.
Sorry, when you say normally all you get is deja vus, are you talking about this kind of situation that you had this week where you'll dream something and then experience it in waking life?
Yeah, it's like I'm doing something that's like, oh, okay, didn't I do this before? The deja vu. And but it was an active one. In other words, it didn't go into the back of my head of something. It wasn't a premonition. That's what deja vus are, in a sense.
I think it's precognition is what they are.
Thank you. That's where I was looking at.
Yeah.
For.
I totally think that's what they are.
And it's like, that's usually what I have, but this one wasn't. And it's like, okay. But since that night, now that I recall, that's when I started seeing the synchronicities happening. And with the new class that I'm taking, which makes sense too, why Spirit's showing me this.
Yeah.
So that's fun.
It is also fun, isn't it? I feel like it's just this constant unfolding of like, for me, I've been on this path of like my spiritual path, my spiritual awakening, all the different ways that we describe it and frame it for like 13 years. I feel like it was really around 2011, 2012. And it's crazy to me how different it is today, meaning like my understanding of it, my connection to it, also like the, what it really feels like to me, this is maybe a good way to describe it, is it feels like, so we've got a really good example of what this world is, right? We've been here for a long time. We've got great understanding of how things work here. And it's like the more I exist in that other space, I'm getting more understanding of how that place works and all the information that is there in a sense. And it's really, really fascinating to me because it keeps unfolding. Like I keep getting not just more awarenesses and more connections and more, I don't like the word abilities because I don't feel like they're like abilities. I think they're just innate senses that we all have capacity to connect into and feel. And so it's like the more that I express and connect and feel these things, those senses get stronger and stronger, which then allows me to experience more and more of what that other space really is. And
yes,
I'm excited because just recently it's gotten even more, like it's more now. It's just, I don't even know how else to put it, right? It's just more. There's more information, more insight, also more unknowns. It's like anything else where as soon as you'll figure something out, I used to talk about this all the time. I mean, we can use anything for a metaphor, but like, you know, this tube of chapstick is a tube of chapstick, but then it's got a bunch of other purposes that could be used for a bunch of other things. And so it's like, as soon as I have awareness of like, oh, I figured this out, the universe goes, but did you think about this? Did you think about this? Did you experience this? It's just constantly showing me different sides of itself, which just expands more and more and more of my awareness around all of it.
Yeah, it's like fine tuning on a daily basis. Yeah. Yeah, because it's like, you know, I was beginning to feel like, okay, I know how to do mediumship and whatever, and someone brought it to my attention that which is accurate as all heck, that I've not mastered it because there's so much, they call it leakage, because I don't have all the answers in the right way. That makes sense.
It doesn't. Can you explain it a little bit more?
I'm trying to think of an example. There's just a lot more. I mean, I'll give validation, you know, 6'2", blonde hair, muscular, you know, but then there's I want to say the personality.
Oh yeah.
That I don't get. And it's like, okay, that makes sense because I'm looking at it as outside. I'm not looking inside. So until I actually can make that person whole, then you don't know it all. So that's another way of me going, well, that's true. That is right. And so, you know, digging deeper into my mediumship and making sure that when I do my readings, that I try and incorporate and give more information.
I have a question for you. I don't know if you've thought of it this way or not, but what you just described made me think of it this way, where you're looking at things externally and not internally. And I wonder, is that the same for you in your life? Is it like time to go internal and start processing and understanding all of that stuff? And then maybe in doing so, it's going to allow you to open up even more on the other side. Because again, April, everything's a mirror, right?
And the biggest thing for me is the emotional part.
Yeah.
Because I don't like to show emotion. Every time I have done it in my lifetime, it's been due to trauma.
Yeah.
So if I keep the emotions out of it, I won't experience no more trauma. But it's part of who I am, and I have to show the emotions, and I am letting loose of it, because when I'm doing the reading, it's not my emotions.
Yeah.
It is the spirit's emotions. And, I apologize and say, I'm sorry for, for crying, but these were not my tears. This was not my feelings. This was so-and-so's. And that's been the hardest for me is to be able to show the emotions that spirit wants to pass on.
Yeah.
So I've dug deep into that part of me that suck it up, buttercup. You're not doing it for you. You're doing it for them. And that's, I have to remind myself it's not me. Yeah. And that, that gets into the trance channeling that I'm learning that, it's not me. It's spirit.
There's some really good questions in here. I'm going to scroll up and look at some of them. Jamie Day's got this question. When you guys hand over a message to someone, do you then let go and forget it? So like after a reading with somebody, what's your process? Or do you, I don't know. I guess that's a great question.
I keep my lines of communication open with anyone that I read. If they ever have a question or problem or whatever, get in contact with me. I may forget who they are at first, but I always tell everyone I keep my lines of communication open for anyone that I've read.
Nice. I like that. I mean, I'm always open to communicating with the people that, I read for, but I very much don't hold on to the information or the stuff. I just kind of here's the message, good luck. But obviously if you need help and process and come back and everything, but I'm not, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'll deliver the message and that's because I don't remember them.
Yeah.
So, but I tell them, you can always follow up. You can always ask me a question because I'm not going to turn someone down. I used to not do yes or no's. Spirit has told me different. So that's why I use a deck of cards, and what's really weird, I've been using them. The first reading I did for a friend, she wanted a yes or no. I didn't have anything with me. A Smoky Mountain Knife Works, which is here. She has a food truck right there. So I had to go inside there and get these cards, and it was a tin box with Winchesters. So I use these as my yes and no's most of the time now. I used to use pendulum, but I use these.
I love it.
And my jokers are my yes and no.
That's so awesome. Let us know if you've got more questions. Feel free to drop some questions in the chat. I scrolled up. I don't know if I missed some because there was a bunch up there. But if you've got a question, please retype it, share it in the chat. I wanted to talk to you, April. What has been your journey on coming on TikTok and doing this? Because I think that a lot of people are scared to do it, feel pulled to do it, want to do it, don't know how to do it, all those kind of different things. What's your journey been? What has your journey been like coming on TikTok and doing all of this?
All the same questions. There's so much of TikTok that I don't know how to do a lot of stuff that's in there. I just, as far as I know, this is the only platform that I can be able to do this.
Yeah.
I'm trying to expand out locally here. When I first started this, there was no metaphysical shops at all.
Wow.
None. The only thing that was at the flea market where they would sell cards and rocks, crystals there, but there was nothing else. And now there's a bunch of places around that I've done. They have once a month weekend readings and stuff like that. But I go to a meet and greet for one of the locals, and it's eye-opening experience. It can be difficult. I just go on and just be me and try and do, and if it's not busy, I don't stay on very long. Like Wednesday night, I was only on for an hour.
Yeah.
Just because it's like there's something else I could do, which is my quilting. It's like, I don't know why, but I'm being drawn to do quilts. And I'm actually going to the next one I do is going to be auctioned off on TikTok.
Wonderful.
So, yeah.
How long have you been on the platform? How long have you been on here doing this?
3 years.
Wow. What are some of your favorite parts of it?
Getting to know people and being able to be me and give the information that they need to hear.
Yeah.
There is one person, well, there's a couple of them that I'm really close to. They live here or further away, but I come across this girl over a year ago, her third attempt on herself, down and out, and she's become a good friend, and she doesn't think about it anymore.
Oh, that's beautiful.
I help her. I give her this support. Now, I was then that point in 2009. I had a car accident in the year 2020. No, year 2000. Sorry, because it's been 25 years. And injured my back, and I was in a pain clinic for 6 years.
Wow.
So they had me addicted, and I was having mental issues, and I couldn't get any help because I didn't have insurance or nothing. So I went to the emergency room and told them I attempted. I didn't, but when I went to the pain clinic, when I got out, 3 days supply to come off. You can't come off what I was off in 3 days.
No.
It was rough. It was bad, very bad. And that's one thing I said. I did not want to become an addict, and they turned me into one. So every once in a blue moon, like when I had foot surgery, was it last summer? I don't know. Last 2 years, I had foot surgery, and yes, I took some pain pills. I had to, because that hurts, especially when you can't walk on your feet. Because I've had both my feet worked on, and this last one last year, they had to put a plate. They put a screw in my foot, but it was loose. I literally had a loose screw. They had to remove it after I healed.
I love it. Here's a question from Bells2222. Have you guys ever stopped mid-read because of the energy you aren't comfortable with? Have you ever had to?
No.
I've had experiences where I won't stop the reading or I won't stop the session, but definitely there's times where I have to like take a minute because of the intensity of what not only I'm like being shown and experiencing, but truthfully, it's like the weight. Sometimes the weight of what the message is that's being shared and wanting to come through is really heavy. And it's hard. The part that I get stuck on a lot is when we're on this platform, not just because of some of the words that we can and can't use, but at the same time, it's like a public platform, right? We're on these lives with people. And I'm like, you want to talk about this right now? And I'm like, I don't know if we should talk about this right now. But at the same time, I've just learned over the years of like, it has nothing to do with me. I have to completely set aside all of those things about should I, shouldn't I? That's me getting out of the way. And that's more of just trusting regardless of whatever it is. But I do have to be very like mindful at times, just from the perspective of like the weight and the depth of stuff that comes through sometimes, because that's what people are dealing with. You know, I think a lot of what my stuff is, and I say it's not my stuff, but like, I think all of us connect to source energy through the lens and the perspective and through our own programs and our own lived experiences. And so my connection to it and the way that I connect with it, as well as kind of like, the section of universe consciousness that I access is also a section that I've been accessing my whole life. And I'm comfortable in that space, which means it's going to have a lot of shadow because I've experienced a lot of shadow in my life and I've had to navigate a lot of shadow, and I've walked through a lot of shadow, both myself, but also in conjunction with other people in the experiences that I've gone through. So I know that again is just going to be the mirror part of it, where that means that a lot of the stuff that I'm going to be processing both with people and sharing for people and channeling for people is going to be coming from that same space. But I think everybody kind of, depending upon You know, we can think about it like your niche and your corner in a sense, but it's really, I think, just how we experience our actual life. And again, actual life, get rid of that word, right? How we experience this experience. Hold on, I just dropped my earpiece. And I don't know. Can you relate to that? Do you feel like it's similar?
Yeah, because there are times where a subject gets brought up and it's like, this is not the place. We'll turn this into a private reading. Don't worry about anything. It needs to be private. Sometimes I have, my sitter would be very upset. I give them the space. I'm sorry to make you feel this way. So it hits people hard, both me and the sitter. So I try to be as delicate as possible. Sometimes it just, you don't know what is going to set somebody off.
Yeah.
And make them upset. You just do the best you can. And if, you just forewarn if you can. It's like, this may be hard for you, and that's also brings up like, some people will not do a mediumship reading if it's less than 2 weeks or less than a month of passing.
Do you mean
I have done? Yeah, they won't read unless that person has passed on for at least a month.
Oh, okay.
And so that way, it gives a sitter a chance to, come to terms with it.
Yeah.
I had someone that was trying to get a reading, and she went every place, and I didn't know the situation until towards the end when Spirit told me that this had just happened 8 hours prior.
Wow. And
it's like, okay, well, I know I can pull someone through that, depending, but, it wasn't. And I told her, I said, that is something that I would, if I had known, I would not have done it. But she was right there when it happened, and she wanted to make sure that they didn't have pain. And, so I delivered the message that she needed to hear and that he relayed. And then there was another one that was a week. And I've never paid attention in asking a sitter, how long has it been?
Yeah.
I look at it as a message. I don't look at time frame. If they're willing to ask, and I'll usually feel them out, and Spirit will come through if they're meant to hear it. If they're not meant to hear it yet, they're not going to come through.
Yeah, I agree. Jamie's got a great question here as well. What do you guys feel you still need the most growth in?
Life. Life sucks.
Yeah.
That's one thing that people, when they start developing their gifts and stuff, it's like they've gone through trauma. And it's like, yeah, because life sucks. And if you want something in life, manifesting freaking works. Because I used to always worry about money. Am I going to be able to pay my mortgage? Am I going to have enough money for food, gas money, whatever? This past year, I've done nothing but do a lot of manifestation on my growth and where I'm going. And I'm going where I need to go. And the growth has just been wonderful.
That's awesome.
For the most part, I have enjoyed it. I get kicked back, but it's because of my own doing and what I need to learn. Yeah. So sit back and enjoy the ride.
When I think about like what I would need to work on, or like, let me reread the question. I want to make sure I remember the question exactly. There's another one too for you, April, that I'm going to ask. What do you guys feel is still need the most growth in? I think for me, what I feel like in this space and what we're kind of talking about, I feel like I'm not to the spot definitely not to the spot with it that I want to be at. I want to get to what I'm working on right now. So when I connect and tap in and I start channeling, what I'm working on is the metaphor that I really like using all the time is surfing. I always think of it as wave riding, right? And sometimes it feels like I'm hanging on for dear life, and I'm just like doing everything I can to not fall off and get into the water. And I know that at some point I'll be able to control it much more and be able to kind of steer and go in the directions that I want to go in, because I can feel that there's some areas that I'm really excited that I want to go towards. And so I'm just getting very curious about what that process looks like. Because it's like anything else. If I try to control it too much, then it slips through my fingers, right? I have to learn the subtle ways to shift and move, just as you would if you were like doing anything, right? You have to sometimes just go very subtly in the directions that you want to go in. And I know that, but I still struggle with that. It's kind of what we were talking about earlier, where it's like the impatience part of me very much is like wanting this.
Well, just to let you know, Spirit's telling you you need to go a different route.
A different route?
From where you want to go, you need a different route.
Okay.
See, like I said, it's like you're going this way straight for it, going right straight for what you want, but they're saying you need to take a detour because there's something both north and south detour. I don't know. They just said north and south detour.
North and south detour. Okay.
So depending on how your house faces, if it faces east and west, do the opposite.
Do the opposite. I don't even know what way my freaking house faces, because there's no mountains here for me to. Back in Utah, we knew everything.
The sun is how you tell them.
I know. All the trees, though, I can't see it. Here's a question from Tracy Lund. April, have you ever experienced astral projection?
I know I've traveled, and I've seen it, but that's all I can say for sure.
Okay.
Because I know I've traveled and I know I've seen it because the images are in my head. So, but I don't recall doing it.
Okay. So it happened at some point, probably when you were doing all those guided meditations at night when you were sleeping.
Yeah. or self-medicating myself back in the 80s.
Kat asks how you connect with someone who isn't in front of you. Meaning like physically, I think. Like, how are we doing this over TikTok? I don't know if that's the right connotation or not, Kat, but go in that direction. I think that's a good question as well.
I just open up to whoever is allowing the energy. They may not be allowing it, but Spirit is showing me that there's a message for them. So it's that damn know it all.
Yeah. Kat, I think it's the same thing where because it's a different frequency, vibration, realm, all the different words that we describe it with, it's not physical reality. And so it's really easy to connect. When we're in these rooms with everybody, it very much feels like everybody's present. At least it does for me. It very much feels like everybody's hanging out together and we're having this conversation and we're doing stuff and everybody's here and connected. And so space and time and being in the same physical place, it's just not needed because you're accessing a completely different place where those kind of things don't matter. Like it's outside of the matrix. Having to be physically present with somebody in the matrix is important, but not here in this other place.
And to me, with what is out there energy-wise, I've got a stadium around. It's like a stadium of all these spirits. It's like, hey, my kin's right there. No, we're not doing that tonight.
Yeah.
That's not on the books today.
This has been so much fun, April.
This has been. I was nervous as all heck, but you proved me that. And I even sent a message to Laura about it. And it's like, no, you're gonna be fine. You're gonna be fine. You're gonna be fine.
Yeah, it's such a chill hang. It's no big deal.
I need to ask you because I have my deck for a reason.
Okay.
You need to ask a question in your head, yes or no. Then tell me the color you want your yes to be.
Okay.
And we'll verify if.
So I'm going to ask a question in my head, and I'm telling you what I want the color yes to be?
Yes.
Okay.
Let me know when you're ready.
Okay, yeses are red.
Okay. And what I'm looking for is the red joker. And you got a yes.
Bam. I love
and
it.
And the no is in the back, very back. Where is it? Come on, show it. God. I can't even look at there it is. Right there. There's the joker. So it was about 6 cards away. Normally, if I have them back to back, it's a mixed emotion answer. Yeah. There's no yes and there's no no.
Yeah.
Was that right?
I think it's right. I mean, I'm 100% like, yeah, I'm all in with that. I'm very much happy about that answer for sure.
Okay. Yeah. That's I don't know. I just was told one day to just start picking them up and just answer yes or no's. And one of the girls I just recently met at my meet and greet, she lives in Knoxville, so
unknown caller.
Spam. I ended up we did a Zoom call. 7, I don't know. I had her ask a bunch of questions. And then the last one, I said, you pick get the question in your head. And I said, I will pick your yes or no. So I picked it and it came out right. So I gave her the option and it's like, so I don't know.
I love
it. And with you with cards, and it was like, it's like, okay, I'm doing that and you're doing it.
Have you ever heard this story about my cards and how I'm here doing these cards? Have you ever heard the whole story about it?
No, I haven't. No, really. No.
I'll have to share it with you. I'll talk about it. Daphne's got a question, though. We want to get to Daphne's question. How can you know what other gifts I need to tap into? So, like, what would be a good, Daphne, how do I know what other gifts I need to tap into?
Spirit will let you know where your next journey's going. You pay attention and listen to Spirit. When Spirit finds that you're ready and you know enough, they'll let you know. And if you try and rush it, they'll let you know. They definitely do.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. I always think about like the subtlety of the nudges that we get. There's so many times where, I mean, we look at it, sometimes we think they're the big ones with synchronistic events or these things that are really like big in our space that we're like, okay, yeah, now I got the message. But there's such subtlety, I think, that we don't really give credit to. And so I'm very, very conscious of the subtle thoughts and emotions and ideas and pulls that I feel towards things. And I've learned over the years that if I grab a hold of something and I'm like, oh, this is it. And it's not to say that it's not it for the moment, but it's like, I don't think any energy is wasted energy. So if I'm going down a rabbit hole thinking that this is the thing and I'm really hyper focused on it and I'm learning all about it and I'm trying to do it and I'm trying, like astral projection, we were talking about it earlier. When I say trying to astral project, I know that I do it. I know that I've experienced it. I have conscious awareness of moments that I've done it. It's not something that I haven't ever experienced in my life before. But over the past year, it's something that's very big in my space. It's very present in my space. And I know that I have greater capacity to use that space and time when I'm asleep for a lot of things. And I'm excited about that. I can like feel that it's there. I can tell, but if I try too damn hard to do it, which I have been doing a lot of this year, is trying really hard to do it, it doesn't happen. But I also don't think that that's wasted energy. I think that what's happening is it's in my space for a reason, and I just have to be patient with the process, but I also fully acknowledge myself and kind of how I am. And like we said, I'm not patient. So I'm always trying, if there's something that I want, I'm going to go get it. and I want to astral travel. I want to go places. I got shit that I want to do. I got some experiences that I need to have. I've got some information that I need to get. I got a lot of stuff that I need to gather, and in due time, right? So I think that's a great way of looking at it too, where it's like, Daphne, just really get tuned in and trust what they're sending you, and knowing that, like, I think every time you asked the question, like, what should I be tapping into next? Pay attention, because the answer's coming. You're already going to receive it.
It's going to be very oblique. You're not going to know. And I think that's harder for me because I'm set in my ways, as old as I am, and trying to pay attention to the small details that I've omitted for a long time. I'm actually, like I said, going backwards. I'm paying attention to the small things that I never did. And I also think that's part of spirit too, letting me know that, hey, there's another world out there. Start paying attention to it. And they're like the numbers lately. I mean, I've never paid attention to numbers, and except for my birth numbers. But I have 2 5s in my numbers. 5s, I've always liked the number 5. So, and put it all together, it ends up being a 2. Is it 12? 10. Sorry, 10.
Right? Selena here. Do you believe that the spirits, your loved ones, only come in and tap you? I'm trying to get that question. Do you believe that the spirits of your loved ones only come in and tap you? What do you mean, Selena? Is it, I don't know. Do you understand that question either?
I think if you're talking about physical touch.
Okay, that might be it, yeah.
If it's physical touch, the only ones that I've known to do is, your family, someone that, it is always someone that you need confirmation from, whether it be a grandmother or, sorry, but, if it was a lost child, that is what is going to give you the confirmation. So if you're asking for confirmation from some spirit, they're going to show you. And usually when I get that, spirit's telling me they're right next to them. Do you feel it, like a cold breeze or kind of face because they just gave you a kiss, or, your hand gets cold or just got sweaty or something. They just touched your hand. Yeah. So spirit will let me know exactly what they just did. Did you experience this? And it happens, and it's like, the confirmation that they needed for spirit to be around.
Yeah. I think that from my own personal experience, I've had a whole bunch of stuff touch and connect physically with me that I don't feel like was just past loved ones of mine or family members of mine that have passed away. I think that we have the, ability, connection, whatever we're calling these things, right? I think that the capacity exists for energy to touch and influence anybody, regardless of whether or not it's family members and things like that. And I think there's a wide variety of reasons why it will. And the really big overarching thing that I believe, and I constantly am trying to also subliminally program everybody with, is it's like there's nothing to be afraid of, even though it might spark fear inside of you. There's nothing to be afraid of. Yeah, they're always coming through. That is true.
There's always someone or something that's trying to get your attention for whatever reason, and just by paying attention to it, it's you second guess yourself.
Yeah.
And that's I second guess. Yeah, second guess.
Yeah, you got to really learn how to trust yourself. I think the more that I've learned to trust myself in my life, like in my regular everyday life, and it's not even just trust myself, it's really being accountable and showing up. Like when I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it, but I wouldn't do that in regards to myself. I would do that for other people, very dependable and reliable for other people, but not so much when it came to myself, which meant deep down inside, I had this program about, well, I can't really trust myself, because when I say I'm going to do something, I typically don't do it. And I've had to learn how to navigate that. And that's a lot of internal work and healing that I've gone through. But that level of trust that I have in myself now, where I not just trust myself, but love myself, I think it directly influences my ability to be able to channel and connect, because I'm trusting the information that I'm receiving. I'm trusting the process of what I'm doing. I have just more trust in all of it because I was able to cultivate and build that trust in myself, which was something that was super missing the vast majority of my life.
Yeah. Trusting yourself and trusting the information that you get as being trustworthy. Also.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you've been lied to, whatever, is this a trustworthy situation? Well, it's spirit, for crying out loud. Why wouldn't you trust it?
Right.
They're not going to steer you wrong. So trust it and just do it.
April, do you have anything fun and exciting coming up that you want to shout out or share?
Actually, I am going tomorrow. There's a winery that opened at the 402 exit, and I'm going to go over there tomorrow and sell myself. That's when I went to the flea market. They asked me, "What are you going to be selling?" I said, "Myself." It's like, so I had to reiterate that one. But no, they do events and stuff like that. And it's like, October going to be here. I know they already have schedules up, but, offer my services, for a night and have them check me out and see if I'll be becoming a regular venue to their nightly or the weekend stuff.
That's exciting. What's the name of the winery?
Blank. I forgot.
It's okay if you can't pull it up. Right, it's okay.
I can't think of it. Walnut Springs Winery.
Walnut Springs Winery. That's exciting. That's super cool.
Yeah. And they've only been in business 2 years. So it's like, they're building a lot. But I just I need to get out there. And that's where my procrastination is going around and just, show people what I can do for these stores and stuff and just to be able to get in.
Yeah.
Because I am talented. I do know what I'm doing, even though I don't believe in myself. Sometimes I know I'm good. And if not, if it doesn't fall through, then, you get your money back. But I've not ever had to do that yet. And I hope to God I never do. But yeah, I'm just be true to myself and be true to people that ask for my help.
Yeah. April, thank you so much. This was so freaking fun.
Thank you very much. This was not so bad. I was worried. It's like, what am I going to talk about? But it was smooth sailing and who said it? I'm like, oh, Angelica. one of my regulars, and I love them all. And it's like, they become family. They really do. And, it's a family outside of the regular mundane stuff.
Yeah, somebody said that on one of my lives a while back where they liked this space so much because it felt like family. Like it felt like a safe place where everybody was just hanging out. And I really, really, I really, really liked that. I thought, oh, that's super cool. And I think that's important.
Daphne, I'm live Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays at 6 p.m. Eastern.
There you go. That was my next question, Daphne. I love it.
Yes, and I'm planning. I want to do more. I haven't gotten there yet, but as of right now, that's what it is. Just because of my day work schedule,
Yeah.
And then sometimes it gets too noisy, and I don't want to keep my husband awake, and he goes to bed at 9 o'clock at night. But he gets up at 4 o'clock, so I have to be nice. Except he lets me sew. Okay, and the sewing machine is right underneath the bedroom, and he doesn't mind that. But this, I guess I get too loud.
Yeah. It's
louder than a sewing machine.
Eastern time zone too. Brandy asked what the time zones were.
Oh, yeah, Eastern time zone. Yeah.
Well, this has been awesome. Everybody make sure to go follow April. If you missed portions of this episode, you can always catch them the following week over on YouTube. They're there, easy to subscribe to and go listen to. April, thank you so much. Oh, and the podcast is live every Friday nights at 7 p.m. on TikTok. Okay. April, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. This was so much fun, Blue. I appreciate you even asking me, and it means a lot. It means a lot.
Yeah. Well, you're awesome. I'm loving it. I have so much fun when you pop into the rooms, and I love popping on your lives as well. So,
well, heck, you haven't given me a bad read yet. It's like, dang, okay, I'm going.
Well, everybody enjoy their evening. And again, April, thank you so much. Much love.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.